my channel. Please subscribe, please hit like, and please enjoy yourself. So what do I have here today? I've got a very, very beautiful Waltham pocket watch. So this was provided to me by a gentleman who was very interested in having this thing working again. And it's got to be a railroad grade watch, but we're going to look this thing up. So it's got on the very top, you can see a small dial. And this is a wind indicator. So not a lot of watches have wind indicators. I've worked on a few with wind indicators. I remember thinking, why would a watch have a wind indicator? You don't need a wind indicator. It's like, oh my God. They spell wind and wind the same way. What is with this English language? So this is a wind indicator. So I'm going to strip this down today and likely be building it back up tomorrow. So this is a gorgeous watch. I'm going to open up the back and let's have a look at it. And it's got a little bit of wear on the edges here. I'm going to leave this vintage looking, so no polishing like I did in the Franken watch earlier. I think that they need to stay looking vintage. So here's the movement. This is a gorgeous movement. So it's adjusted to 5 positions, as you can see. It says that right here, right there, adjusted to 5 positions. And if I zoom in a little bit here, what do I got? It's a Waltham, it's hard to read. Waltham, Massachusetts. I got to get my good glasses on here and have another look at this here. This is a Waltham, Massachusetts. It is, let me think, Waltham Street, Crescent Street. So it says Crescent Street, adjusted 21 joules. Crescent Street, adjusted 21 joules, Waltham, Massachusetts. This is a gorgeous, gorgeous movement. So it's got a wind indicator, and that wind indicator is at the top position, so it would be underneath the crown wheel here. So this is the crown wheel. This is the ratchet wheel because it makes a ratcheting sound when you turn the crown. So somebody told me that a while back, how to remember them. What a great tip. So, and when you're counting wheels, this is wheel number 1. Wheel number 2 is the center wheel. Number 3 is the intermediate wheel. Number 4 is the seconds wheel. It's got the pivot with the second hand on it. And number 5 is the escapement. They don't normally call it number 5. They just call it the escapement. This watch also has raised settings, and they are gold. They're not gold filled. They're gold. And the case, if I have a quick look at this case, let's just bring the case up for a second. This is the case, Mr. W. Rockburn. And 5 Ella Street, Ottawa. I believe this is the gentleman's father. Cashier gold. American Watch Company, American Watch Case Company, AWCCO. Made in Canada, eh? And it's had a bunch of servicing. As you look at it, the number of servicings it has had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 servicings, 7. There's one on the top too, I believe. And these are the servicings of the watch that you're looking at. There's a top one there, and then there's one there, and there's some other ones here, and then here, and then here, and here. Someday I'll figure out what I want to do to engrave my name in there and just put JD in there for servicing. And there's one on the bottom as well, I can see. Normally those were catalog numbers of the watchmaker. So this gentleman, the local Watch and Clock Society up here in Ottawa, recommended that I address this watch, and he came to my house. I said, yeah, I'll do that for you. I'll be super duper extra careful when I'm working on it, but I'll get this thing running again. So if I look at the serial number on this watch, it is, I'll do a close-up so you folks can also look it up. So it is 22001232. 22001232. So I'm going to go over to the database here that I have for for watches and have a look at this. All right, there's the database up for that watch. I typed in the serial number of the watch, 22001232. So this is a model 908. Let me see if I can point over here. Can you see my mouse? I don't think you can see my mouse. It just does the screen. Anyway, it's a model 908. Estimate year of production was 1918. They made 500 of these only, but the total grade model run was grade model run 53 of 94. So they did 94 runs. This was done in the 53rd run. So they made quite a few of these, but they are nice. 21 joules, size 16S. It is an open face watch. It's lever set. It's adjusted. It's got a wind indicator available, yes. Wind indicator present, yes. And as I go down here, is it a railroad watch? It has to be. So I would say yes as a guess, a quick guess. The value of this watch, I think this gentleman, the value is usually the value of the person that actually owns it. And the value, there's the value. So the high-end value, not retail, is $350. So you could sell this from $425 to $560 That's the working condition value of the watch. It also has a non-working condition value, the high value at $245. But this is a gorgeous watch. The reason people get me to repair their watches is not because they can sell them. It's because they were a family heirloom of some sort. Their grandfather owned it or their father owned it. So it has nothing to do with getting it working and selling it again. That's if it had to do with that, I'd just be buying watches and selling them, fixing them and selling them. So that's not why I do this work, by the way. So, and you can see the 2023 from January was low, and now it's getting pretty high for selling pocket watches. It's starting to get higher. So that's the watch. It's a Waltham watch value. It says Crescent, grade is Crescent Street, right? Model is 1908, 21 joules. So what a gorgeous watch. I love this thing. It's excellent. You can also get parts for that watch, but back to the movement specs that we have here. They are there. So what a gorgeous watch. So we're going to see if we can disassemble this thing and get it running again. So the first thing I want to do with this is take the hands off the watch, which means I have to line them up to take the hands off. It doesn't matter where I line them up. I'm going to put a piece of paper down and then pull the hands up. This should be lever set, so I'm kind of looking in here for a lever and I don't see one. This is odd because it says it's lever set. Is there a lever somewhere? Oh, look at that. There is. The lever is on the opposite side of where it normally is. Now that has to have something to do with the fact that the watch is has to do with something to do with this wind indicator on the watch. So I just cut my thumbnail off the other day and now I can't get a hold of the levers. So my thumb lever is not working. So there we go. Just pull that out with a pair of tweezers and then I can line that up. I just need it lined up to, I think I'll line it up to 12 o'clock. Be a good boy here. So just line that up to 12 o'clock and you want to protect the face of the watch. So I grab there's a piece of plastic I use for doing this. I'm just reaching over to see if I can find it. There it is. And that'll just protect the face of the watch. It looks pretty dark. The face looks kind of dark and vintage looking, so there's nothing I can do with that. That's just an old face, kind of like mine. So we're going to just grab this lever here with these giant lever removing device. So just punch in like that and then straight up. And there's the hands. So I just leverage my way over and then grab those hands. Two hands, put them aside. Right, get those out of the way. Now these small ones are tricky. So again, I don't want to at all disrupt the pivots on this watch. So I got to get down and dirty on these ones. And I've got some smaller hand removers that I like using for this. And I just have to be very careful as I wedge it underneath the watch, just very carefully like that, and then pull it up. And there's one. Then I'll put that down, drop it down, and then the wind indicator, the wind indicator needs to come off. This one is kind of strange looking, the way this thing is in the watch. There it goes. So that's that. Grab that, move that out of the way. If I can't grab it with my tweezers, just use a piece of Rodico, because you don't want to force anything on a watch. You just then drop it into the tray. So I have a tray next to me here. It's tray handy. A little French for you. Oh my God. So funny. And I do want to get rid of this chain here, get that out of the way. So This is a vintage chain as well. This is a very beautiful vintage chain. Look at that. I think my camera is stalling a bit again, so I'm not sure why, but may reboot my computer and start over. Nah, I don't think I will. There it is there, and that's gorgeous. The old chain, the old ball and chain. So that's a vintage chain. And now the watch is in a pretty nice condition here. I'm going to throw the lever back here. Just put that back into position. And I'll clean the threads here on the movement to make sure there's no issues. I'm looking over at the Frankenwatch right now, and it's still keeping perfect time. So that's good. And that's a woohoo from the customer. I know it is. So let me just go like this, and I think that I've got to let down the mainspring. I think the mainspring tension is still there. And while I'm doing that, let's just hit that camera. I think we need to hit that camera again. And let's do a Mike Tyson on the camera. I'll bite its ear off. And I want to basically, there's the click spring or the click here, and I just want to move that out of the way. Again, I got to get myself a little closer to the problem here. And I just want to shift that out of the way like that. And I'll just be able to ride the crown down as the mainspring winds down. So it's not going to take much pressure to do this. It's almost like it's there already. Yeah, it's there already. There was just a small wind on that, so nothing much. So I want to take it out of its case right now. I think I'll put a pair of gloves on to do that, so I don't unnecessarily put any marks on this watch. It's just so gorgeous. So I'm just going to turn that around and put it on the pad and grab the pad. We do some pad grabbing. Pad grab babby with a hab dabby dabby. What the hell am I talking about? Still very, this is a Bergeron 5395, 75N for no good. No, it's really good. It's a gel filled, very high end gel filled holder, whatever you want to call that thing. But there we go there. So I want to remove a couple screws and take out take the movement out, let it drop out. So I'm just going to remove these screws. I'm going to hold it up again so that the cannon pinion doesn't poke me here. So this screw looks like it was already loose. It's never a good thing. And I just put these are the movement screws that I just have to put them in the tray. The tray that's tray good. There's that joke again. Oh my God. Oh me, oh my. Said David Letterman. For anyone who doesn't recognize him, just keep turning that screw forever. I just sit here for a week and turn that screw. That's like that blonde joke where it says other side, and the blonde turns the paper to the other side and said, read this until you get to the other side, and they do it again. So I don't know if this pulls out at all. I don't think it does. So I don't think the answer is no. So I just need to scooch that over. But let me put my glove on first so I can do it properly. And of course I need to do the Bugs Bunny on the glove again. That way when I put the glove on, it's putting it on the right way. There we go. NBCW, nuclear, biological, and chemical warfare. So let me see, is this going to come out for me, or is it going to be acting up? It looks like it's acting up, which means I think the crown must come out if it's, yeah, it does. So the crown just moved out, and now the movement comes out of the way, and I can put there, I'm going to put that in the tray. So now I've got the movement out of the way. It looks like it has a dust cover on it, so I can remove that dust cover. I'll show you how that's done. This thing is a high-end watch, dust covers and everything. So that's a pretty easy job to do. You just wedge your screwdriver in here and then just turn it, and the dust cover will pop out. Don't do one side completely. Just keep working it around, because the dust cover is covering the. It's kind of trying to prevent dust from getting into the movement. It's also protecting the screws. So there we go. The dust cover is off. I can put that aside as well. And then I want to loosen the dial screws here. get a screwdriver. Use the yellow one is what I use to loosen the dial screws. But these dial screws look pretty big, so I'm going to use a different one. I'm going to go to red for these dial screws. I'm going to go to red, I tell you. This thing is jittering, and I don't know why it's jittering. Sometimes my computer does that, so I apologize for the jitters. I got me the jitters. Just going to move this around. If you see it jittering, I just don't want to restart my computer right now, so we're just going to have to put up with the jitters if that's what happens. So just rotate that, get it out of the way, and then loosen that up. I think my wife is actually putting lights on that side, and she just keeps going in and out and in and out. Now I could make a dirty joke there, but I'm not going to do that. So there we go. That's off now. So can I lift that up a bit? Should be able to. And you can use your thumb on the edge to keep it out. Otherwise it just drops back down again. So do that, and I should be able to work this thing off. Looks like it was almost off. Just got to turn that around again, and always keep your fingers and stuff away from the balance, because that could cause a disaster that you don't want. And there we go. Is that coming out now? No, not yet. You move one out and the other one goes back in. That's what happens. There we go. Dial's out. Dial actually looks like it's in pretty good condition. There's the dial feet. I'll use a little Rodico in the front of that, but I don't think it's going to make much difference. So I'm just moving this into the tray, nice tray. Over on the side, I'll probably end up using 2 trays for this watch. But what I want to do right now is get this balance out of the way. So I need to grab a movement holder, and guess what movement holder that I'm going to grab? Take a guess. You guessed it right. It's the Myers number 58 movement holder. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, the Myers number 58 movement holder. Let me get rid of this here. This is from the hour wheel. Move that out of the way. And the hour wheel probably dropped, although it may not have. Not the hour wheel's still there. I can move that out of the way though. No need to hold on to the hour wheel if I don't need to. And the cannon pinion I could probably lift straight up without a problem. And there we go. Cannon pinion came straight up. That's not too bad. And now I want to put that in the Myers number 58 movement holder, and you've got to watch. Keep your eyeballs peeled, because in this particular watch there's this here, which is for the seconds hand right there. And then there's this here, which is for the wind indicator. So that's his very touchy little thingamajobby-doohickey, I should say. So I'll end up taking a picture of this first. Let's lay this down first and take a picture of it, and then I'll take the balance off. So I'm going to take a photo of this, because this is not going to be easy to do. It's a different type of watch. And let me just get my camera on and light on here, and then we're just going to take a picture of this, and we're going to take a close-up of this right here. There we go. Got the close-up of that. Picture of this, close-up of that. E-I-E-I-O. So let me just fling this around like that. And I want to avoid the lever from the lever set mechanism as well. I don't want to crush that. So you want to make sure the lever is out of the way. Leave it to beaver lever. Where is that lever? I'm looking for the lever right now. There it is there. So there's a lever. I'm going to make sure the lever is where the opening is of the Myers number 58 movement holder. There we go. Put that in like that. And now I want to remove the balance. And I'm going to put the balance on the balance holder that I made. So that takes all tension off the spring. I'm going to use a screwdriver, and I'm going to take the balance off, but I'm going to use my Bergeron holder, pointer, whatever you want to call it, to do this job. Now the balance is actually missing a piece. The gentleman gave it to me. I'm not sure whether there's a way of putting that back on again, but that's what it is. It's missing this little piece right here, and I got to figure out what to do with that. That's a job I'm going to do later. So I'll have to give him a phone call and tell him that his watch is now on the bench. I think he'll be pretty happy, because it's been probably about 2 months, because I had to do a lot of other watches in the meantime. So I could take that off and then put that screw in the little tray. You like that little tray I made? That's pretty cool, isn't it? That's the world's smallest little tray. So these also unscrew, so I think they do. Anyway, maybe they don't. So now I got to take the balance out. I got to be very careful here. Not usually I can do it with one hand, and just pull this up and then go sideways with this, and then sometimes I need to use a second set of tweezers. No, it's my lucky day today. I got that out, no problem. And I'm going to just lower this here, and it's just going to lower like that and sit on this balance tack that I made. So there's the balance tack that I made. It's a very nice little balance tack, and it's got a little tray for the screw, so it's all set. Move that out of the way. Overnight I will place this in a jar with a cover on it, so I still have to clean it anyway. So that's now out of the way, and I can start disassembling the watch. So you got to disassemble this part of the watch to get the wheel out, right? So you might as well not take this off until this is off. So that's probably the correct way of disassembling it. So I got to take the ratchet wheel off and the other wheel. Now, you know that this wheel, again, does it go left or right? That's the thing. So sometimes it goes left, sometimes it goes right. This was loose as hell, so I didn't do any turning on it at all, and it just came apart. So this was very loose, which is odd. So I lift that up, put it aside, and then take the ratchet, not the ratchet wheel, take the crown wheel and lift it up. So this should just come up. Well, I'm lazy, so I'm just going to take Rodico and pull this part up and then pull the rest of it up. Didn't seem to want to just come out, so there we go. That's a safe way of doing it. So there's an alignment screw in here to make sure the ratchet wheel goes, or the wheel goes on, the crown wheel goes on properly. I keep saying ratchet wheel. This has got to be the ratchet wheel because it makes a ratcheting sound. And this always turns counterclockwise to loosen it up. This is always lefty-loosey, righty-tighty, which is great because that's what I remember. The other one is actually lefty-loosey as well. So I can just lift that up now and put that aside for scrub-a-dub-dubbing later on. And now, as I can see, the mainspring's down here. I can lift this plate up now. So get my screwdrivers out and then just very carefully remove these screws here. And I got to make sure I got the right screwdriver, and I do. It's perfect fit. You just have to make sure the screwdriver fits nicely in the slot of the screw. Actually, I lifted up the wrong one. I unscrewed this one. I really wanted to unscrew this one. But guess what? I think these plates are connected. Yes, they are. So it's just fancy stuff going on. So these screws here are all one giant plate. This looks like it's independent, but it's not. The plate's actually connected to the larger plate here. So I wasn't wrong. I was almost wrong. Let's just say that I thought I was wrong, but I was smarter than I thought. And I'm going to go to a purple screwdriver here, just so the blade's not bigger than the screw. So, and there we go. This is the second one, and my hip is starting to hurt, folks. My tragically hip is starting to hurt right now for some reason. It's probably the angle of my foot. I'm just going to use my glove and put a little bit of pressure on here while I unscrew this one here. So far it's going smooth. And I have to see if I'm going to take that wind indicator out. I'm going to be very careful with how I reassemble that. So there we go. That's the plates there. Now I want to lift this up. I should be able to get my screwdriver in here and just wedge it a bit like that, and should be able to lift it straight up. Now there's one of the pivots for the fourth wheel is kind of stuck in the hole. So can I actually push that up, or do I pull it all out? So I can take a needle maybe and push that down as I push everything up. I don't want to break the yeah, there we go. So you just push that down through the jewel, and now it's loose. And the reason I did that is so that I can lift this straight up. I don't have to worry about the second hand pivot breaking. So, because I wanted to come up with the jewel hole because it's dirty, right? So there we go. And just put that plate along the side here. And then, of course, I always take a picture just in case they've got some crazy stuff happening. Let me just look there, and There's my picture, and I'm just going to remove this. I already took out the cannon pinion as you saw earlier. I'm going to move this case over because I need more room. And I'm just going to lift the center wheel straight up here. And there are the center wheels. And I can just move these wheels out of the way as I take them up. This one can't come out yet because the plate needs to be taken off. That's not a problem. Let's grab that plate right now. And let's unscrew it. And that's 1, 2, and you can hear it click, which means I can grab it and pull it straight up. And 3. There we go. That's 3 screws to the wind. 1, 2. I got my watch on right now, and it's kind of in the way. My Apple Watch, giant Apple Watch that I got. Probably a bit too big for my use, but anyway. That's the story here. I can get my screwdriver under here and just wedge this up a bit. And I should be able to lift this up straight up with my tweezers. There we go. And I always match the screws with the plates because there are the occasions where they don't work properly, where they need to be matched. So there's the other wheel, and then there's the seconds wheel. When I put this down, I always put it with the pivot facing up because that pivot, you do not want that pivot to break. And the escapement, I can take this off after. I can probably take it off now. Yeah. Sometimes you got to loosen the pallet fork before you take that off. I can lift out the mainspring straight up. And now you can see all the crazy wheels in here I'm going to take a picture of. So once I strip it down, I'm going to now I got to get a different screwdriver because this is much smaller, and I don't want the pallet fork. When I take the bridge off for the pallet fork, I want to make sure that there's no issue here. So I think I just hit my camera again, but I'm looking down here and at this, and I don't like the fit. So I'm going to see if I've got another. Let me tighten this up a bit. See if I've got a different screwdriver that's going to fit in there tighter. Yeah, that's much better. So I'm just going to loosen both of these up first. And you have to have a firm grip on it as you loosen it. So I want to take the screws out of this, and then I want the bridge to come straight up. I'm going to loosen both these screws, and then grab my tweezers and pull the tweezers, grab the screws, and they should be pretty good. Let me get this like that and like that, and now this bridge should come straight up. I hate grabbing it from this side, but I'm going to do it anyway. See, it feels a bit stuck right now, and you do not want to force it because you can break the pivot. There we go. There we go. That's perfect. So I got it out of the way, kind of rocked it back. And there is the pallet fork, and I'm going to put the pallet fork in the case with the. I'm going to put that with the thingamajobby doohickeys. Now, I've got to look at this spring mechanism and determine whether I want to take that apart or not. And I also have this wind indicator that goes straight in, so that just plops straight in. It's a crazy looking mechanism. This is what it looks like. The wind indicator. This is the wind indicator, and that controls the dial on the top. So I'm just going to move that aside. I'll likely leave these gears in place. No need to move them, and then I may not strip down the setting mechanism in this. I'll see whether I do that later on or not. So, because I've cleaned the watches with the setting mechanisms in, I just hate the way this mechanism works with a bridge in it. There's a little bit of a bridge in there. You have to unscrew it from the other side, and then everything falls out. It is a biatch to put back, so you basically have to do that. And with this wind indicator, I think that this gets unscrewed and comes straight up, but then you have the chance of all that kind of coming apart. So this is the screw that sunk 1,000 ships, So I believe the minute wheel can come out, though. There's no need for having that thing hang around. So we'll take that out. And this stuff just looks as clean as a whistle. So I'm just going to likely just toss the whole darn thing into the cleaning machine. So take this off for the wind indicator. I took a picture of that earlier. And then I've got this plate here, but I'm not sure if I want to remove that plate. Let me have a look. Is it just a plate? It may just be a plate. If it's just a plate, I don't really need to remove it. And these wheels too, you're gonna, there's a chance of losing a part if you do that. So I don't have much left in here that I need to address, right? So I think I'll leave that like that. If I take all this apart, I've put these together before and they're so difficult to put back. So I'm going to leave this the way it is. There's a guy I work with, that another watchmaker, who says, yeah, he doesn't bother removing that stuff. Once you do it and dry it, you can still oil it. There's holes available here to do the oiling. And you can oil this as well. So we'll see. You guys can give me comments on that. Am I checking or not? I just don't like the spring mechanisms and the chance of losing one of the spring mechanisms in this. So that's what scares me about it. So I'm going to leave it like that. I'm going to clean the rest of the watch. This will clean with the watch as I put it into the baskets. So let's just load the baskets up right now. So I'm going to load the baskets up with the watch, and then I still have to disassemble and clean the mainspring. And what else do I have to do? I might take the this mechanism apart here. I'm not sure. The risk here is that if you lose a part from this mechanism, I'm talking about the springs that are in here, that you either have to make a new spring for it or figure something out. And it works perfectly good right now. And when I put this in the cleaning machine, it will clean it completely. And I dry it as well, and it will dry completely. And I wait a full day after I do the cleaning before I do the reassembly. So it's usually good enough. And any of these parts here, they get oiled and lubed and everything. And any of these parts here will not affect the actual amplitude of the watch or the beat error or any of that part of the watch. They're winding mechanisms. So you don't want to lose a screw. There's a chance, for example, if you take one of these little screws out of here and it's already in nicely, there's a chance that the head comes off. The screw head might come off, and then you've got an issue there. So you really got to be cautious, because you can do a nice cleaning with the watch. It'll work perfectly without undoing all of this and risking losing parts. I think if it was my watch, I would likely strip it down because I wouldn't be concerned. But it's someone else's watch. I can still clean it, and I can still oil it with that setting mechanisms in place. I'd like some comments on that, by the way. If you could give me a comment on whether I should be removing the setting mechanisms or not, you can let me know. Because I still am able to clean it in the cleaning machine, because I'm not cleaning this with lighter fluid. It's going into a professional cleaning machine, and it will get scrub-a-dub-dubbed completely. And there's all these little extra wheels here and everything. Like there's a wheel right here. What the hell is this for, right? And that's wheel that's stuck on that plate over there, and I don't want to mess with that. Anyway, that's it. I'm going to throw this in the basket and throw the rest of it in baskets, and I'll catch you later. I'll put this video on, but it's a gorgeous watch, gorgeous movement, and this is kind of what things are looking like right now. There's all the plates and hands and pallet forks and parts and everything all over the place. So let's clean this thing up, and I'll probably catch you tomorrow with the next video. Thanks a lot. Please subscribe to my channel. Please hit like, and we'll catch you later. Bye.